Hey guys, and welcome back for another episode of 2-Minute Warning. I'm Blake Showalter.
And I'm Beto Vacadillas.
And we're starting off with our pro sports episode with the NBA. The playoffs have begun. The first games are done. Second games are coming up by the time this video comes out. The second games will already have been played. But starting off, man, we got to talk about these Grizzlies. Ja Morant supposedly being out for possibly even the remainder of the series. How does that play for the Grizzlies? The Lakers, as we kind of predicted, have sort of dominated in that game. 128 points in their first game against the Grizzlies, taking the win there. And great stuff from Austin Reeves, good stuff from LeBron. So it's going to be interesting to see how this series plays out.
Yeah, definitely an interesting point is Ja Morant being hurt. Obviously, MVP caliber player for the Grizzlies being out. He only had 30 minutes to play, but in those 30 minutes, he had 18 points. So, obviously, a good impact for the Grizzlies. But the Lakers, as you mentioned, a very complete team going in. Not only did LeBron play well with 21 points, AD played well with 22 points, but a lot of the role players played really well, like you mentioned, Austin Reeves, but also Rui Hachimura.
Good enough.
I hope that's how you say his name. 29 points. Really good look from these guys. So the Lakers seem like a very complete team moving on in these games. And so I think, honestly, because the Grizzlies, of course, Ja Morant is the most important part of that team. If he doesn't play, I think the Lakers keep walking through this team.
Now, I'm going to weirdly kind of disagree with you there. Not completely. I do think the Lakers are going to take the series still. But the thing about Ja Morant is I think he's the reason for their success when they're succeeding. I also think he's the reason for why they're losing when they're losing. Big problems in the locker room right now. All of his drama going off during the season. Don't know if that further followed into the playoffs. Hopefully they could just channel in and zone in on the playoffs. But him being hurt, I don't think it's the end of the world. The Grizzlies are 10-8 without Ja this season, so maybe not the end of the world for them. Who knows? Maybe they'll even play better without all that drama surrounding them all the time, but he's still going to be on the bench watching them play, so you don't know. I do think the Lakers, being that they have LeBron, they have a really good team around them, and they're all gelling together, as we said in the last episode, at the perfect time. So I think they're going to do well. Again, I think they're going to take the series, but who knows? I think the Grizzlies might not play as bad as everybody's thinking they might. They still got Dillon Brooks, even though he's a total drama queen, and I hate him, to be honest. He's still a solid defensive player, but you know what? We're just going to have to see.
Yeah, even two more players to look at for the Grizzlies. Jaren Jackson Jr. in that game had 31 points, really, really, really stepping up in the absence of Ja Morant. And, of course, Desmond Bane, he always shows out, 22 points. These guys are dogs. I think that's what they call in the FedEx Stadiums, the grindhouse. They all get in there and they just play, and they play with intensity and with grit. And so these guys will put up a fight. I still think the Lakers take it, but I do think, like you mentioned, the drama with Ja Morant, the drama with Dillon Brooks, I think it'll get to them in the end. They're not cohesive, and they're not as motivated as the Lakers are, which as obviously they had to really work to get here, and I don't think they're going to let it slack, especially with the captain LeBron James.
Yeah, and then I definitely agree with you there. But next game that we got to talk about, got a lot of games to talk about, man. I mean, choose the playoffs. But next game is the Warriors versus the Kings, a razor-thin victory for the Kings. Steph Curry not being clutch for, I don't even know when he's not clutch, but shoot, he wasn't there. I don't know if the crowd got to him. I don't know if De'Aaron Fox got to him, but shoot, man, that was an insane game. I mean, I really was underestimating the Kings, even though everybody was kind of betting on them to kind of be the favorite as in upsets go. But you know what? They looked really, really good. I don't know if they're going to win the second game. I don't know if they're going to win the series. I still think the Warriors are going to win in 6, to be honest. But the Kings, man, surprising me.
Yeah, the two stars here, of course, Kentucky boys, De'Aaron Fox and Malik Monk. De'Aaron Fox, 38 points. Malik Monk, 32 points. Both of them played a near-perfect game. And the Warriors didn't play a shabby game either. A lot of them came up clutch, like, as we mentioned, Steph Curry, perfect until the last buzzer. One-handed shot from the three-point line. Not really sure what he was trying to do. Why didn't he shoot it two-handed? But he's Steph Curry. He knows him better than I do. But 30 points, had a phenomenal game. Klay Thompson, 21 points, shooting really well from three. Andrew Wiggins, 17. Jordan Poole, 17. So most of these Warriors came up, but the Kings just outplayed them. In the last two quarters, De'Aaron Fox just took over the game. I could not believe what I was watching. He was driving. He was shooting from three. He was just dominating on all facets of the game. And, of course, free throws, getting to him. I think the Kings were perfect from the free throw line in the last half, and so that really played a huge factor. But I was really excited watching them. I'm really excited to see what they can do in the playoffs. Obviously, this is their first home playoff win in 23 years, was it?
Yep.
Something crazy like that. So I'm really excited for them, really hoping that they're going to keep on going on this majestic run. But the Warriors are the Warriors.
Yeah,
I think that says it all.
I think one thing that should be highlighted is the Kings' coach. I mean, Malik Monk was a bench player for the Lakers before he came on to the Kings, and their coach has been able to totally just unleash him, and he's been absolutely amazing. I mean, the Kentucky boys are back at it again. I mean, They're looking great. It's going to be interesting what they do. They play tonight in game 2, so you guys will know what happens before this video comes out. But, I think it's going to be another close game. But, again, going to stick to my guns here, Warriors in 6.
Yeah, going back to what we were talking about kind of with the Lakers, the motivation, the cohesion of the team, I think that this Kings team, because of the history of, like, not making it into the playoffs and losing out, and of course they're all young, they're so much more motivated than this Warriors team.
They got a chip on their shoulder, it seems.
Yes, and they want to play more. So I think the Kings will take the series in 7 because, of course, the Warriors are the Warriors. They're going to put up a huge fight, but I think it's the Kings' year. They're going to make it out this time.
Well, those are the 2 games we want to touch on the most out of the NBA game so far. But real quick, just go over the scores. We got Nets versus Sixers. Sixers taking game 1. Really dominant game by them, winning 121-101. And then the Cavaliers, led by Donovan Mitchell, losing 97-101 to the Knicks. That's going to be a close series as well. We can touch on that in a moment. But then also the Hawks, who I thought looked really good in the play-in tournament, losing to the Celtics, who have looked really good all year, obviously.
Celtics make anyone look bad.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's very true. Jason Tatum had a great game. Celtics win that game 112-99. And then the Heat, my favorite team overall, not going to lie, I love the Heat right now. With Tyler Herro's broken hand, we're going to have to touch on that game a little bit, see how they're going to play going on with those injuries, but also Giannis Antetokounmpo getting injured as well. But anyway, the Heat taking that game 1, 130-117. So real quick, let's touch on that Bucks versus Heat game real fast. Also, one more thing, Clippers and Suns. Clippers winning 115-110.
That's out of nowhere.
Yeah, then
the Suns look so sharp.
Yeah, and then the Nuggets being led by Nikola Jokic. Wow, someone there. 109-80, just a completely dominant game.
Buzzsaw.
They're gonna absolutely run through the Timberwolves for the rest of this series. But real quick, let's touch on the Heat versus Bucks real fast, and then we'll move on. But what do you think is going to happen now that Tyler Hero has that broken hand?
Yeah, I think injuries play a lot for both sides. Obviously, Tyler Hero is someone who the Heat have relied on with his three-point ability, his great creative work. But I also think that the Bucks are going to be missing more with their injury in Giannis Antetokounmpo. It's really disappointing because Giannis, obviously, MVP candidate, super influential. He gets injured. It seems there's to be a lot of injuries in these playoffs. I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, man, it's really odd. I mean, these players have been able to pretty much stay healthy the entire season. Now when it counts, everybody's getting hurt. I don't know. But real quick, just touch on the Kings a little bit. It kind of opens it up for everybody else, to be honest. I mean, it's still questionable about when Giannis is going to return. Tyler Hero out for 4 to 6 weeks with that broken hand. Still hitting a three-pointer right afterwards, which is crazy. But we're going to have to see more news on Giannis before the next game or the rest of the series comes out, so we can't really count them out too soon. But right now, I think the Heat, with Jimmy Butler playing as well as he's playing right now, I think they're going to take this series.
Yeah, I think we mentioned it whenever they were playing the Hawks. Jimmy Butler just didn't show up, but he showed up in the last game. Man, 35 points. He just played absolutely crazy out there.
Insane. I was glad to see him rebound in that sort of way, man. Mm-hmm. Great stuff from him. But moving on, we got some great news out of the NFL. The Ravens, after Jalen Hurts was just signed on for a 5-year extension.
Huge contract.
Crazy huge contract. $182 million guaranteed. Total contract being 5 years, $255 million. Shortly after that, we'll talk about Jalen Hurts just here in a minute, but shortly after that, Lamar Jackson being offered by the Ravens, $200 million guaranteed, not yet to be accepted. By the time this video comes out, it might have been accepted. We don't know yet.
Per Ian Rappaport.
So who knows? He's been a little dicey lately, but who knows? But crazy stuff coming out of there. Real quick, let's talk about Jalen Hurts first. Insane stuff. I mean, took him to the Super Bowl. I mean, of course he's going to get paid, but wow. Highest paid quarterback in the league paid? That's a different kind of paid, man.
Yeah, I think everyone looks to the Mahomes contract and automatically thinks he's the highest paid, but then if you look like over the course of 10 years, it's not that much compared to this. This is insanity level of money.
It's next level, man. And I don't know, it just feels like these contracts are going higher and higher and higher. Soon these quarterbacks are going to be paid like billions of dollars, it seems like. I don't know what's happening with inflation and everything like that, but I thought when Patrick Mahomes was given 10 years, $500 million, I was stunned there, but now we got Jalen Hurts being the highest paid, which I love, but at the same time, 5 years, that's not too long, which I like because with the style of play, you never know about longevity, but still $182 million guaranteed with a kind of a quarterback he is, such as that kind of play action type, getting out of the pocket, running all game long, depending on his style of play. He did look really good in the pocket during the playoffs. I do want to add in, but his longevity is a concern to me. It's going to be interesting what happens there. But, wow, just absolutely paid, raining in money. That he's not just wearing Eagles green anymore. He's wearing them Benjamins green now.
The real green. I think he deserved it. Obviously carried them to a Super Bowl. Super young, super talented. But this puts into question the whole league. If you look at it as a relative sense, because of obviously the Mahomes contract sparking a whole bunch more contracts, and you look at the wide receiver scale, whenever Devontae Adams went to the Raiders, a whole bunch of more receivers cut ties, like Tyreek Hill, going to the Dolphins for more pay. And so it's interesting to see that's like, is this going to happen with the rest of the league? Obviously, there are some really, really, really high-level quarterbacks still on rookie contracts in Justin Herbert in Joe Burrow. Are they going to want a $250 million plus deal from their organizations, or are they going to be happy just to stay and build what they have there? Obviously, Joe Burrow, AFC Championship in the last 2 years, a Super Bowl in one of the last 2 years. He's
got to pay for them Cartier glasses somehow, man. You know what I'm saying? But
yeah, he's great. He's a great quarterback, and he deserves to be paid. But if this is how we're going to deal with quarterbacks now, is it just going to keep going up in value, like you said, to the billions?
And yeah, man, but I also think that the level of quarterback play or the expectation of quarterback play has shifted so much in the past 5 to 10 years, where instead of having a system or a good quarterback that was acceptable in the past, now it's you need a great quarterback. And the bar is set so high that the quarterbacks that can reach that bar, such as Joe Burrow, Justin Herbert, or now Lamar Jackson, Jalen Hurts, obviously Patrick Mahomes, are being paid these insane amounts of money, such as that we just talked about, Jalen Hurts, $182 million guaranteed, or Lamar Jackson being offered $200 million guaranteed, and still not taking it because, shoot, in 2-3 years, who knows what the market's going to be? It might be $500 million guaranteed. I know, I want to call that crazy, but at this point, I really don't know. But the fact is, that, for example, guys like Tua, who I thought had a pretty solid first year. I know people want to say he was terrible his first year, but even last year, despite 25 million concussions, man, played really well, but Dolphins fans still kind of have him on the chopping block. So I don't, the level of quarterback play or the bar that quarterbacks need to be at is so high right now, which is why they're being paid so high right now. But it's just insane. Like, I mean, I'm a Jets fan. I wasn't happy with how Zach Wilson played, but I was willing to wait. But again, the expectation is greatness at quarterback. And just to repeat myself a fourth time, they're getting paid that way.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. There's a ton of rookies in the NFL now that or who have been rookies in the past, I should say, who are looked at so harshly because they're not Patrick Mahomes, they're not Jalen Hurts, they're not a Joe Burrow. Like you mentioned, of course, Zach Wilson. Obviously, he's hit a point, but Mac Jones is another one that the Patriots are actually really trying to develop. Mac Jones, that seems like Bill Belichick took an advanced interest in him to try and keep pushing him to a level, and that's just not seen anymore.
Well, yeah, but he also tried to shop him in the offseason.
That is true.
I gotta remember that, which was a little dicey there. But real quick, let's talk about this a little bit more. For guys, I think are gonna get paid. I think Justin Herbert's gonna have no problem getting paid. He's in LA, great market. Well, fans aren't really there, but money-wise, it's there. But for guys like Joe Burrow, where the front office is notoriously very cheap, I mean, shoot, they're just now getting an indoor stadium after it took them going to the Super Bowl to get that. So will the front office for the Cincinnati Bengals pay Joe Burrow $250 million guaranteed?
He's worth it.
He definitely is worth it, but I'm not sure if they're willing to do that, to be honest. They should, but who knows? But, I mean, he's not going to have any problems finding, I mean, shoot, maybe he wants to go back down to Louisiana but get signed by the Saints. Who knows? That'd be great for my friend Will Wright, who's watching this, I guess. But it's going to be interesting to see what happens with these young stars because there's so many great quarterbacks now. It's going to be interesting to see what happens with their contracts in the coming years.
Yeah, I think it's also good to look forward to from a sporting perspective because these guys are at the very start of their career, which is really crazy to think about. Mahomes, already 2 Super Bowl champions. Jalen Hurts been to a Super Bowl. Joe Burrow, been to a Super Bowl. These guys are going to be around for a long time. So I'm really excited to see in the future football, but not really excited to see in the money side of football because that could lead to some heartbreaking moments.
Yeah, I mean with inflation, who knows? Maybe there's going to be like billions of dollars for contracts. Who knows, man? Who knows?
Exactly.
Well, that's all I have for this episode, man. Anything else?
I'm all good here.
I'm Blake Showalter.
And I'm Beto Vacadillas.
Thanks so much for tuning in, guys. See you guys next time. Make sure to follow us at the Southeast Arrow on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, whatever you want to follow us at. Also, follow us at the 2 Minute Warning with _ on Instagram. Thank you so much for tuning in. See you guys next time.